Hi everyone, it's Martin from Branco Customs here, and today I'm going to show you how I built this beautiful bushcraft knife. It features a 5mm thick N690 Cobalt stainless steel blade. It's got a beautiful vine and thorn pattern down the spine, which is also on a tapered tang. It's got a Raffir Stabilised wood handle, Poplar Burl I believe, orange liners with a nice dovetail section in the middle, which is a nice solid black linen micarta. I started off creating a CAD template of what I wanted the knife to look like. This particular design is very similar to ones that have been made popular recently by people such as Ray Mears with his Woodlaw line of knives, and generally the bushcraft world has been very popular overall with this Scandinavian style grind. I traced the template onto the steel using die chem as a medium to scratch into using a carbide tipped engraver. I then use the same engraver to punch the centers for where the pins and the lanyard tube are going to go. It's then over to the drill press where I drill out 6mm holes for 6mm pins, which we're going to put some nice mosaic pins into those holes, and then an 8mm hole at the butt end in order to put the lanyard tube through it. Once all the holes are drilled, it's over to the angle grinder to cut off most of the meat from the blank. We then take it over to the bench grinder to fine tune the profile. I then lay some dye down the edge of the blade so that I can scribe a line where the exact center will be. I then move it over to the flat grinding platen in order to put a nice bevel on the main edge. I then switch around and use a magnet in order to hold the knife whilst I start grinding the tapered tang. I then carefully measure and scribe markings into the spine of the knife and use a carbide Dremel tool in order to remove the excess material for the spine filing. I then go over every area with very fine diamond needle files in order to get the final pattern. Now all the main shaping is done, it's over to the heat treatment stage. Here I wrap it into a piece of specialist stainless steel foil. I include a piece of cardboard, which will then hopefully, when the oven temperature is up over 1050 degrees centigrade, that piece actually burns and kills all the oxygen inside the sealed environment, making a vacuum, which means you don't then suffer from decarburization, which will leave pitting in the steel itself. Whilst the knife blade is cooking in the oven, I turn my attention to the handle. I start with a nice piece of Raffir Stabilised and dyed Poplar Burl and split it straight down the middle in order to make the two side scales. There's then a whole series of various steps which I unfortunately didn't catch on video, where I basically cut and ground various angles into the knife scales and the liners in between and glued them together. It took about 2 to 3 days of work, because you have to wait for the glue to dry in between every step before sanding off and then gluing on the next piece. Finally, the pins were inserted after a little bit of witchcraft of getting the angles just right, so that with the tapered tang involved you can still drill the holes perfectly straight through the entire block. Most of the handle shaping was done on my machines. I then move it over to sandpaper to finish it by hand. Hours and hours and hours and hours of hand sanding later, I then coat it with a nice little bit of buffing oil, and away it goes to a nice beautiful sheen. Next on the list was to get my all-important logo onto the blade, for which I use a reusable stencil. I stick it down with pieces of electrical tape to mask off so that I don't end up etching any areas that I don't want to etch, and use a electrical supply with salt water in order to eat the metal away in the shape of my logo. Made a nice quality leather sheath to go with it, and then sharpened the blade using various stages of sandpaper up to a 1200 grit finish across the entire bevel, which left it absolutely razor sharp. And if you made it all the way through this video, thank you very much for watching. Please click on the end links to see more videos, and if you like it very much, please click subscribe, like my page, and perhaps come and have a look at my website, brancocustoms.com. I make knives full time, so if you have an idea for a knife that you'd like to make for yourself or for somebody else as a gift, please drop me a message and we'll see what we can do.